I've always attended church in my adult life on and off. Maybe 6 months here, a year there, but I never made contact. The people, usually it's where some of my family had been, but I would drop out because I just didn't feel a part of it. Well, I would probably go when I needed to go. When my mother was dying, I needed the church. When I was having trouble in my marriage, I went to church, at a time that I needed something from them. But when that was over and I thought my life was okay, I didn't need church and I dropped back out. A few weeks ago when part of your sermon was the difficulties that new people have coming to church, about 5 years ago I really faced that, and all those things you said were very true for me. I knew that Jolynn worked here, and I gave her a call to see what time church started, what door do I go in. I remember asking her, what pew do I sit in, because other churches I'd been to, people had certain family pews, and if you sat in them, it was upsetting to them, and I didn't want to do that. I remember asking her, what do you wear? Some churches wear blue jeans, some churches really dress up, and I wanted to fit in. She clued me in on all that, and it was very helpful. And when I started, people were very welcoming to me. I felt welcomed. People came up and introduced themselves, and that was all good, because other churches, maybe I went 6 months or a year, and then I would just fall back because I felt not needed, unimportant, wasn't getting what I wanted out of it. Going to Sunday school was a big dilemma because I knew that I couldn't get everything in a sermon and I needed to attend Sunday school. But when I looked down that hall and you saw all those doors, you didn't really know where to go, and you didn't want to act stupid, and you didn't know which Sunday school teacher to go to, because where would you fit in that you needed the most? As an older person, I didn't want to go to a young group and not fit in. And think what it'd be like if you'd never been in a church. That would be really scary to walk in those doors, see that big sanctuary, see all the people, and not have any idea about how the program's going to run, what you're supposed to do. When do you stand up? When do you sit down? Do you take communion? Don't you take communion? That would all be very mind-boggling. But to make a real contact that kept me coming back to church, I had to step out and join a group and work with some ladies. Also, the congregation had to take a step out to me to invite me and to encourage me to attend those groups. And I think that's what has made the difference with this church. I remember when I first started, the clothing pantry was one of the things I worked in. And I worked beside two ladies that had been at the church for a long time. And I wanted to be by them because they shared all this spiritual Christianity, being a good person with me. And I needed that, and I wanted that, and that's what really changed my life. And this way I feel really a part of the congregation, and that I'm giving to the congregation. The group step, like you said, was big for me because I'm a worker. I like to produce. I want to do for people, and that's what our groups do. I'm not so much a group that's a social group. I tend to go more with the groups that are going to produce and be workers and make a difference that way. I mean, I've worked since I was 15 years old. I don't know anything but producing and working, and that's what really speaks to me. And when you think about what the food pantry and the clothing ministry can do for other people, that's a big thing. This time around, I realize I always thought I've not committed any sins. I haven't killed anybody. I haven't stolen anything. I don't really need God or go to church. I haven't done any of those things. But this time I realize now, and I've learned what sins really are, and that we're all of us sinners, and I need God and I need church. That made a big difference too. But one thing I did, I'm a big reader. So once I got really involved with church, I read everything that I could get my hands on at the library and also in the church library to really enhance my learning. And I think that helped me a lot to understand things that maybe you're afraid to ask, but you can read about it and think about it and understand it. Because of the contacts that I made, because of stepping out and being involved with groups, I think that's what's really cemented me to this church.
And my faith will be made strong in the presence of my Savior. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters. Oh, yeah. Come on, let's declare this tonight. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith will be made strong.
Okay.
Yeah, that's.
Are we done?
You're done. You did awesome.